everyone. I actually wanted to start by saying thank you to all of the speakers. It was so heartening. I hadn't heard their talks before, to learn why they care about the things that they do. So thank you. Sometimes I think I care a little too much about some things. A few weeks ago, we had our midterm exams, and I was stressed. I was supposed to study for an exam the next day, so obviously I was procrastinating. But I wasn't on Facebook, or I wasn't cleaning or cooking to be pseudo-productive. Instead, I was just scrolling through the news, and it was really sad. There were a lot of bad things happening, but it was just so overwhelming, I started crying. I mean, I was bawling, actually. It's like the worst Humans of New York post, then watch the Notebook movie, and then your phone screen breaks. I was really sad. And I was texting my classmates saying, why are we studying? I don't need to know about the Nash equilibrium right now. I just want to be melodramatic. I want other people to be melodramatic. I want them to care. Because if you don't care, you don't have to think about anything. It was a great night. And I'm no stranger to these things, right? I feel really overwhelmed sometimes. I come to school, I give someone a hug, and then I let it all out again. But it feels so empowering to know that it's because you care that you can act sometimes. It's because you care that you can say, no, I'm not going to just forget about it because I have other priorities. I'm going to feel sad. Maybe I can't do something about it, but I'm going to care because I'm human. Babies are born with empathy. They're born with the ability to care and to share that moment of connection, even before they learn languages. And I think we grow and learn and use that empathy as a tool for connection throughout your life. And so you leverage that. David Foster Wallace gave a commencement speech where he talked about fish being in water. And he said sometimes the most important and obvious realities are the ones that are hardest to see and talk about. So he said, yeah, caring is hard, but it's a responsibility. We're human and we care, and that's what makes it so special. It's when you say, I don't know much, I've acknowledged this feeling, and I'm going to take it and I'm going to use it to share it, to build something. And I might not have an impact, and I might not be able to measure something, but I'm going to acknowledge that I care, and that in itself is a step to action. So today I want to share a story about a time that I cared, and I don't know if it had an impact, but I know it led to a very special moment of connection. So I was an undergrad not very long ago. I was studying economics and anthropology, and I went to Greece to study abroad. So anthropology, it was beautiful culture, beautiful people, lots of things to learn. It was great. Economics in Greece, there were things to learn. And so it was an amazing study abroad experience. I went to classes, I traveled, I tutored local high school kids in math and English. They were fantastic. We lived in central Athens, right behind the parliament, and it was a very posh area. But every day, something really small happened, and it kind of reoriented the rest of my time there. So every morning, I would leave my apartment and go to school, and I would pass these few men of South Asian descent on the road, and they would be pushing along grocery carts, and we would make eye contact, acknowledging that we saw each other, we had the same color skin, I had privilege, they were presumably homeless, and I didn't know what to do. And every day it happened, and every day my curiosity grew, and I realized I also felt ashamed because I cared about them, but if I acknowledged it too much, then I was acknowledging a privilege, or acknowledging a responsibility, or acknowledging that we came from the same region of the world, so they were my people. And so I didn't know what to do, but I did want to hear their stories. So I spoke to a professor of mine, and she told me about, in the EU, there's a treaty that says, if you want to file for refugee or asylum status, you have to do so at the port of entry, so the first place that you arrive. So obviously Greece and Italy are very common regions for this to happen, and the proportion of immigrants in that part of the world has increased astronomically. And so with that context, I was even more intrigued, and I wanted to know what their story was, if that was their story or if I was missing something. So she said, talk to them. So I did one day, and they were very suspicious, and I talked to them a little bit more every day. And one day I told them what I was doing. I was here studying with a group from America. I'm a student. And I asked them about their families and if their families were here. And they showed me their family. So they took me down a little road and we went to their house and I met all of their children. It was a group of 10 really, really hyper children. They were laughing and screaming. There was this one girl called Sonia who would pull my hair, pull my jewelry, ask me why for everything. Say, my name is Nikita, why? And I didn't know the answer. Maybe that's also one of the few words we could mutually understand with each other. And there were lots of other kids, and I continued to realize that I cared a lot about them, but this feeling of what do I do? Should I do something? Is this just selfish feeling like I should care and I want to do something? I don't know how to handle my emotions. What do I do? So I asked the children one day, I said, what do you want to do? Like, what do you do every day? Like, don't you get bored troubling your parents every day, all day? And they said, oh, we want to learn Greek. We want to talk to other kids. We feel scared. At home, before, we never wanted to go to school, but now we want to go to school and we can't. And so that was really powerful for me. And I asked them, okay, what do you want to learn in school? What do you think is so great? They said, we want to learn Greek. I said, okay, I don't speak modern Greek. I could say the numbers, I could say my name, I could order grilled vegetables, and assorted other things. But I spoke to a professor at my college, and every day I learned a little bit in school, and then I would try to teach these students later. And we needed a lot of space, so we started going to the local basketball court. And it just turned into them running around and playing, and me just shepherding them around. But it was almost like I cared to just see them be carefree for an hour every day. I would go in so anxious and distressed because I wasn't sure if I was doing something, meaningful. I didn't tell many people because my professors would probably make fun of me. It was really hard. And then I would go home and feel really sad because I didn't have an impact. And none of them could go past 7 for a long time. And Sonia, she would come with me. They would play for a little bit, but then someone would fight with her and she would come and hide behind me. And so it was a really, really interesting relationship to foster, but it made my study abroad experience unparalleled. And so my economics professors, right, they'd be shocked. I didn't have an impact, I didn't do things efficiently, I didn't measure an indicator. What are their later in life outcomes? I have no idea. Probably wasn't a long-lasting impact at all. Their parents probably felt burdened after I left. There were a lot of things, right? But if I had not made that first step to talk to them in the beginning, if I hadn't selfishly or unselfishly reached out because I just cared so much, I don't know what would have happened otherwise. And whether short-term or not, I know it's had a lasting impact on me and maybe a small impact on them. My anthropology professors asked me, oh, so when is the book or ethnography coming out about this subgroup analysis? I said, I don't know, are you going to write it? Because I'm not. And so there are a lot of factors. I probably didn't have the tools at that point to measure anything or to say something constructive. All I knew was that I related to them because I didn't have a choice. Now I have a lot of tools, right? I'm here to get a toolkit. I can find the Nash equilibrium, I hope. I can run fancy statistical models. I can say, oh, maybe I should have done it this way or that way. Maybe you can build a school. Maybe you can do this reform. All of these structured approaches to fixing this problem, which is great, and I'm really grateful that I have those tools now. But no matter what tools I acquire, or no matter what new situation I come across, I know it's the fact that I care so much to an overwhelming extent that's going to make the difference. It's the motivation to connect with someone else. It's the motivation to make someone smile. It's the motivation to just empathize that's actually going to make the difference. And don't get me wrong, like sometimes it's really hard, right? If you hear something unfortunate and you're like, okay, I can care, and then maybe I have a responsibility to do something. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do it. Okay, I'm just going to push it aside. Or I already care about something. I don't have the bandwidth to care about something else, and that's fine. But sometimes caring doesn't have to lead to a newspaper article. Everyone here is like a high-powered, important person. Everyone's a really high-functioning person in this room, and it's stressful to know that maybe you can make a change, but sometimes if you care, then you're obligated to. But I would argue that by not allowing yourself to feel it, then you're not doing yourself or anyone as much power as you could. And so I would just say, I want you all to find the Greek experience in your life, or the Sonia in your life that had a great impact emotionally on you, an impact maybe you're not even proud of, but that you'll never forget. Because I don't want you to be afraid to care because it's hard. I don't want you to think, okay, I don't know what to do, so I'm not going to care. Or I don't know how to do something, I can't deal with this right now. If you want to cry, text me and I'll come and we'll cry together. And I just think it's a very, very meaningful way to share a human connection with someone else. Thank you.